our own validation enough?
Ooh. Ooh.
So you're thinking of like stuff that I'm saying and you're saying. It's like, why isn't our validation enough?
Well, okay, so I think our validation to a certain extent is enough, but we have told ourselves now that we need outside validation because we already have validated ourselves because now we have started to create and do this stuff. Like you put your stuff out on the Self Zone, I put my stuff out on Wanderlust Cuisine, and that we had our own self validation because we had the gall to go and create these pages.
Yeah.
But now since we created these pages, now we are seeking other validation.
Yeah. So
since we're seeking other validation and we're kind of not getting as much as we want, I believe that now it's like hyper focused on other people's validation when at first it was just good enough for our own.
Yeah.
Like after I make a meal, I'm sitting in the kitchen dancing like, yeah, I did that.
Ain't nobody touch me. I did that.
Ain't nobody touching me in the kitchen, I promise. But then it's just like we put it out to the world to see. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I feel like I believe that it's just like any other restaurant owner or something like that or designer. It's like, okay, we know that we have the talent and we know that we can do it. Now y'all tell me that it's good. Now y'all tell me that I made it almost like.
Yeah.
And so that I don't feel like an imposter in my own mind because like I got this self-doubt, but I also have this confidence where it's just like, blue. But that self-doubt is like, blue too. So it's just like, you have these, this self-validation that I believe is there, but it kind of dwindles away once you put it out to the public. And once you put it out to the masses, you now want their validation. And once we're not getting it to the capacity that we believe we should get it, then we start to question everything. You need to always remember that it has to start somewhere. Like Oprah started somewhere, everybody started somewhere, and it wasn't always as big. So maybe, yeah, I know, yeah. I feel it.
Getting into these conversations, okay?
Yeah, we're getting into some things. But what do you think is like point? Where do you think that point is where we get the validation that we want? Like, what does the numbers like? Should we look at the numbers? Like, what would the numbers look like when we finally get there? Or because at this point, if we're looking at numbers, my mind is starting to move, and it's just like, okay, you get to this certain amount of numbers, then you want to get to another certain amount of numbers, and then you want. So when does it?
Is it ever going to be enough? Is it ever going to be enough? Yeah, I don't know if it. I don't know. No, I really don't know if it's ever going to be enough. Like, are we ever going to be satisfied?
Like,
we feel like we can keep going. But it's like, where does that come from? Where we feel like we have to keep going? Like, what are we trying to prove? Oh.
When do you think it's going to be enough? Because now I'm sitting here thinking it's just like, I'm going to always want to go higher and higher and higher. And like, I want to be worldwide at some point. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like I know you want the Self Zone to be worldwide and international. Like,
I do. I really, really, really do. Is it ever going to be enough? When would I ever?
That's a question to ask yourself.
I know that's a question I really need to reflect on. I'm definitely gonna put that in my notebook though to ask, because is it ever gonna be enough?
Don't worry about my Christmas tree is up. We decorated
jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swinging and jingle bells ring. Snowing.
They don't wait till Thanksgiving. They just put it up, okay?
These Self Zone talks, I like them.
That really make you think for real, because now
it really makes you think about. It also makes you think about like how social media has such a hold on us. Like, if you think about it, the people in these think about the people who didn't have social media and stuff of that nature. Where did they like? Well, they did. They had like TV, like Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
She had CBS or ABC or whatever she was on. And just the other like people like you that have the Self Zone, what did they do before social media? Was it enough for them? Because they started their stuff and then they also got to jump into social media, but already had a following.
Yeah.
So since they already had a following, it was just like, it was theirs. Now we have to figure out how to make ourselves known, like more widely known. And all we really have is social media because that's all people really pay attention to nowadays. Me and my boyfriend, we were having a conversation and he was just like, why are people always so invested in their phones and in social media? And then that conversation can also lead into imposter syndrome because you're looking at everybody else's lives and you feel like you're not where that person is. So who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Just like social media is, I enjoy it, but to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now,
like,
question, when you take your breaks from social media, have you ever felt FOMO? So fear of missing out.
Absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely not.
So listen. Y'all don't talk about me, but like the beginning of the first 2 weeks of like whenever I do a social media break, that first 2 weeks, I experience FOMO. I'm just like, man, what is so-and-so doing? Is everybody okay? And then I'm thinking in my head, like, is anybody worried about me? Like, but then after that, like, I'm cool. It's like smooth sailing. I'm just like, well, whatever. I don't gotta be on here.
Because you kind of just shut the world out. And to me, it's like when I take my breaks, I don't really experience FOMO because I believe I can hyper focus on what's going on right here in my life right now, what's going on in front of me in real life and not on my phone and not scrolling, like, because I always think about it like this. It's always going to be there.
True. That is
if I leave Instagram and come back, it's going to show me a post from 7 days ago. Or I can go, if I really want to see what somebody else posted, only thing I'm missing out is a story or whatever. But like, no, I just guess I really never really experienced it because when I leave, it's because I found myself too into it, or I'm usually in school. So like if I'm in school, I'm focused on homework anyway. So I'm not really even, because it's go to school, go to work, study, go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. So I'm not really on my phone. So it's just like, I really don't have a fear of missing out on anything because I'm not missing out on nothing. Only thing I'm missing out on is people posting pictures and showing kind of a fake life. Yeah, they showing how happy they is, but y'all don't show when y'all crying. Well, some people do show it when they crying, but that's another conversation for another day.
So on this website called verywellmind.com, it's like a mental health website, very credible, but they have broke down the 5 basic types of imposter syndrome. So the perfectionist, this type of imposter syndrome involves believing that unless you were absolutely perfect, you can have done better. You feel like an imposter because your perfectionist traits make you feel that you're not good as others might think you are. Then you have the expert. The expert feels like an imposter because they don't know everything there is to know about a particular subject or topic, or they haven't mastered every step in a process. Oh, sorry, my sister's calling me, so I got to decline her call. Sorry, Jesse.
All right, sister, we'll call you later.
The natural genius in the imposter syndrome type, you may feel like a fraud simply because you don't believe that you're naturally intelligent or competent. Then we have the super person. This type of imposter syndrome involves believing that you must be the hardest worker or reach the highest levels of achievement, be possible, and if you don't, you're a fraud. The soloist is also possible to feel like an imposter if you had to ask for help to reach a certain level or status. Since you couldn't get there on your own, you question your abilities.
Ooh, that perfectionist stabbed me right in the face. I probably, because of my Virgo nature, I'm a perfectionist, and that's a whole nother conversation. Where it's just like sometimes I beat myself up and I get so upset over certain things because I knew I could have did that better, or I knew I could have did this different, or I should have done this different, or I beat myself up because I messed something up and I should have thought about that. And I always remember what my mom taught me when I was a kid. She always would tell me, like, if you mess something up or I did bad in school or if I forgot to do something, She always reminded me, you can't be mad at nobody but yourself.
Got him! Got him!
Ooh. Okay, then mama comes through.
And it's like, it's so true because you can't blame it on nobody else if you do bad on something that you were doing, because it's on you. Like, you can't be mad at nobody but yourself. And it's like, I think that hurt me, and it actually made me better, because it's just like, you learn to not point fingers at other people, and you learn to not like blame somebody. You're like one of your downfalls on somebody else, because it's on you. Like, you could have did that better. But I also believe it hurt me because it's just like, I blame myself for everything. Like, if I would have did this different, then this would have worked out. If I would have said this different, then this wouldn't happen. Or, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a double-edged sword when you think about it, being a perfectionist. Like, because we usually blame everything on ourselves, and we usually, because we didn't do something right, or we know we could have did, and it's usually like, we know we could have did that better, or we knew that answer, or we knew a certain thing and we just didn't do it. And that's where it's just like, and that's another reason why that goes into like my food and my cooking. It's just like, when I'm editing my videos or promoting it, I just feel like, oh, I could have did that better, or maybe I should have did this, or I forgot to do this when I was editing it, or, you know. So it's like, perfectionists, we usually have anxiety because we think about things that we should have done or we could have done better. And that's what sucks. And it's like, when it comes down to like the expert and all the other ones, it's like, no, because I don't care about knowing the right answer. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, I know that if I'm wrong, I can be like, okay, I'm wrong. But that kind of works with being a perfectionist too, because it's like, I didn't want to be wrong, but I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to be wrong, but I guess I got to be wrong. You know, but I am the type of person where I can admit when I'm wrong. I really can.
Really?
But I don't.
Sometimes I have
really
a hard time.
Huh?
I said sometimes I have a hard time.
No, it used to be hard for me to admit when I was wrong, but admitting when you're wrong brings more peace, because you're not arguing back and forth. Like, okay, you know what? I'm wrong. You are totally right on that subject, or I can see your point in that aspect, and it's like, I might be wrong in that, but I'm also agree to disagree, or like, I'll say that in a quick second. I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on that, because everybody has their own opinions about things. Everybody has their own views and stances on certain things. So it's just like, sometimes you do have to admit when you're wrong, or you have to agree to disagree, and that's okay. But in my perfectionist nature, I'm still gonna go back and I'm gonna think about it and be like, how could I have been right? What fact could I have pulled up to make me right?
I don't know. Where do I fall?
Which one resonates with you most? I feel like the expert.
But yeah.
I already know.
Hey, why y'all put me up? Yeah, Rick, yeah.
Yeah, we know. We do.
That is true. That is true. That is so true. Because I have a bachelor's in social work. I have a master's in human resource management. And I just feel like
you have to be an expert in everything you talk about, in all aspects.
I feel like I just need to know everything.
I feel like if we talk about stuff, well, me, you, and T on FaceTime, and you don't believe me, or you need to fact check, like, you be like, well, Google said, girl, believe me.
I know. I don't. Why do I do that? I don't know.
Where does it stem from? Like, what? Like, I know that my perfectionist kind of stems from my Virgo-ness, and my mom always telling me, you can't be bad at nobody but yourself. Mm-hmm. So where do you think your expertism stems from?
I don't.
Like, what makes you feel like you need to? Is it like a validating thing? Like, you need to know, like, I was right.
That's when you say that, because when me and my husband get into it and I'm right, like, I'll be like, I was right. Like, I'm shouting up and down, and that's not nice though, but
it's not. It's really not nice, because it's like, you have to kind of rub it in somebody's face like, I was right, you was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not that type of person. Like, I can be like, okay, maybe I was wrong. Or usually, sometimes if I am right, because again, I'm a Virgo, most times I'm right. Most times I'm right. 9 times out of 10, I'm right. So that's why sometimes I let things be like, okay, I'm wrong. But then I already know, okay, I'm right. I know I'm right. But you're going to find out that I was right later. And then you're going to come back and be like, remember we was talking about, I was like, I know. I just wanted you to find out on your own.
Why do I feel like I need to be the expert on like topics and stuff? And that goes to like creating this podcast YouTube channel. I feel like I need to know everything about how to create it before I do it.
Well, I mean, that's a good trait to have to a certain extent, because it's like you don't want to not have the knowledge and just go in there and be all willy-nilly, and it's not great content or it's not great editing,
And like when I put on my self-care workshops for the Self Zone, I felt like I needed to know every single thing that I was talking about, just in case somebody was to ask me a question, I knew that answer.
Right.
Where does this come from?
It's something you need to write down in your little book and be like, wait, let me reflect on this.
I feel like do I feel like I'm not good enough? So is that why I feel like I have to be an expert on different subjects and topics and stuff?
Like your word or what you know isn't good enough? Or
yeah,
I see that. Oh, well, you are good enough. You are a great human being. So
I appreciate you.
We all know that.
And that makes me think like when oh shoot, we got 2 minutes left. That makes me think when I said I was going to school for a bachelor's in social work, there were a few family and friends was like, why are you going in that field? You're not going to make a lot of money. And that was discouraging. But
it's like, what do they know? Are they in the field?
No.
Do they know? Like, that means that then you probably went and tried to figure out like, how much do this field make? You know what I'm saying?
Or how can I make a lot of money?
Yeah. Like when I first wanted to go into the nursing field, I never knew how much they made. Like everybody was like, oh, don't just do it for the money. Don't do it for the money. I'm like, how much they make?
Right.
And look into it and I was like, oh, okay. Like it's lucrative, but I'm not doing it for that reason. Ooh, that could be another topic.
Wait, say it again.
I said that could be another topic we talk about, is talking about going into certain fields and why, and
Yeah, because that makes me think about me having my master's and people saying, okay, you got your master's in human resource management, you're not using it, you're staying at home. Like, how long do you think you're going to be at home? Like, are you going to use your degree?
Well, first of all, you're raising a child and you are a stay-at-home mother, so they can mind their business, and there's things you can do with that online and at home.
Yeah.
Right?
I felt some type of way. Oh my God, we digging deep. Oh Lord.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Great. I think this was a great start to our get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
It really was. It really was. And I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, I did too. Well, it was great talking to you as per usual. I can't wait till our
next time. You always make good conversation. It's like easy.
Yeah.